Hello, everybody. It is Johanna here with Orbital Astrology. It is Sunday, the 24th of July, and we are here a little bit late. Technically, we're here early because I said I was going to go live at 8 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time, but uh, I'm actually not feeling super great, so I'm going to get through this and give you the astrology for next week so I can go lay down and watch a movie or something. So, um, yeah, I just have like a scratchy throat. So I took a COVID test and I don't have COVID. So woohoo! But yeah, I think it's the astrology of midlife crisis transits that are happening to me. So yeah, just hoping it's yeah. Anyway, it's not just me. I think that's feeling a little out of it. My cat is here. Hi, kitty. Say hi. Because we are actually building up to a pretty big event, and I'm not going to go too much into detail because it's actually happening next. Well, it's starting to build. It's starting to come into it. Um, it's starting to perfect next Sunday. So I will give you all the details as of next Sunday on what's happening for that first week of August. That's just sort of kicking off. Um, yeah. So it's going to be quite an interesting event. There's this tension that's been building for a little while now since Leo season started, actually. So I know I talked about Leo season and all the Leos getting to celebrate their birthday and like getting to shift out of this cardinal season of Cancer into Leo, which sort of feels a little calmer, a little more stable. And I guess I should have used the word sort of settling into the energy. So maybe it's not stable or more calm. It's just we are sort of getting like the status quo. We're getting used to it. We're sort of like feeling, okay, this is how it is. Um, yeah, so that's kind of the energy of a fixed sign as well, other than being calmer or more stable. It's like realizing and accepting that this is what is there. So it's not so much about initiating or changing or mutating into something different. It's like, well, we're going to sustain this for a little bit longer. So um, Mercury is really active this week. So Mercury is moving super fast. Like I talked about Mercury going into Leo last week, as of the 19th of July, and it's already at 8 degrees as of yesterday, 8 degrees Leo. And by the end of this week, it's going to go all the way to 21 degrees. So it's like really moving quickly. So Mercury is just speeding through Leo. It's only going to be there for, a few less than 3 weeks. So, and when Mercury is in Leo, it's talking to all the fixed sign planets. And right now we have a combination of the Sun in Leo, Mercury in Leo. There's going to be a new moon in Leo this week on Thursday, the 28th. And we also have those two pesky outer planets, Saturn and Uranus, hanging out in fixed signs as well. Now, last year, 2021, was all about the Saturn Uranus square. It was the biggest alignment in that year. And it's even though we aren't actually going to have the exact square this year, the two planets have been there since they're so slow moving, especially Uranus. They've been within a few or like 4 or 5 degrees of being in a square this year. So we still are feeling a lot of that energy. And now that we are officially in the Leo season, we are getting reactivated. We're having another conversation. We're getting to renew or review that energy of the Saturn Uranus square. And I mean, ever since Uranus has been in Taurus, where it's currently, I think, at 21 or 22 degrees, I mean, we've just seen, oh no, it's at 18. Sorry, Saturn is at, or should I say Saturn? My brain is not like there right now. So I'm talking about Saturn is at about 22 degrees Aquarius, and Uranus is at 18 degrees Taurus. So ever since we've had Uranus move into Taurus, which has been there since about 2019, 2020, we have seen what Uranus has really done to the energy of Taurus. And if you guys watched Changing of the Gods, which was a documentary that they released this year about astrology and like the history of the Uranus Pluto squares and how it caused incredible disruptions in history. We've seen how Uranus has disrupted all the Taurus things in our life. So what does Taurus rule? We've seen Taurus rules the food supply. It rules environmental factors. It rules money. So cryptocurrency. We've seen what Uranus, how the disruption of cryptocurrency and all of the different ways the money systems are working in the world. The economy in general is sort of related to Taurus just because it's about our resources and what we consume in our country and our culture. So that's really been kind of, in the background. I talk about the outer planets as being sort of these bigger, longer phases and being in the background of our lives, but they're always there, sort of like shifting and changing how we live in the world. And even though they've been in the background for the past year or so with the Saturn Uranus square, we are going to be returning to understanding that's going to be coming more into the forefront. So coming out of the background, out of the shadows, and having a conversation again. Because Mercury, now that Mercury is running through Leo super fast, is going to be talking to both Saturn and Uranus. Also, the planets that we have in Aries. So we have Jupiter in Aries. We have Chiron in Aries. Last week I said Chiron went retrograde. So Mercury is going to be talking to all these planets because Mercury is in a fire sign and he's in a fixed sign. So Mercury is going to be talking to all the fixed signs and all the fire signs. So that's a lot of conversations that are going to be happening this week. So that includes, Saturn, Chiron, Jupiter, Uranus, Sun, the Moon. All of these planets are going to be, and Chiron, right? I think I said Chiron. So all of these planets are going to be activated this week by Mercury, and Mercury is about communication. It's about ideas. It's about I would assume there's going to be a lot of fast-moving, quick-moving news this week because Mercury is in a fire sign. It's also moving extremely fast. So what's going to happen is Mercury's going to rush through Leo, pop, 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 talk about all these things. All these ideas are going to start coming up. All of these conversations, all of these maybe news flashes that are going to be happening this week, actions, discussions. Mercury rules like technology and stuff like that. I think about Mercury as being that like kid who gets along with all of the different social groups at high school or whatever school system. That kid who can go between all the different groups and cliques, and Mercury is the winged messenger. He's able to just sort of slide in and talk to whoever and discuss whatever needs to be discussed without choosing a side. That's why he's not considered to be he's not even considered to be a he or a she, or he's not even considered to be positive or negative. He's just this totally neutral planet out there delivering messages between all the different other planets. So think of that energy as this week as being really fast, really conversational, and maybe quite exciting because of that fire energy going through this fire sign. So that's going to be happening this week. So we're going to have all the conversations, but then the sun, since it's also in Leo and is moving, a lot slower than Mercury, is going to be making the same aspects to the same planets. You can hear my cat. The same aspects to the same planets, but after Mercury goes through. So that means we're going to have the conversation first, the ideas, the news breaks, the emails, the messages, the texts, the phone calls, all those things are going to happen first this week. And then in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we are going to finally understand the truth about that. Because sun is the knowledge, the knowing, the truth, the finding out of the illuminating, the holding the spotlight on to, whatever is being presented. The sun finds out what really is happening and what's the truth behind it. So it's like, you have a conversation or you get a message or whatever, and you're like, oh, okay, cool, I got this, or oh, okay, that happened. And then maybe 2 days later, you come back to it and you think, wow, did they really mean this? Like, what was the subtext in this? So that's the type of energy that's going to happen as we go through Leo season with Mercury running before the sun and having conversations. So another thing happening this week is Jupiter's going to go retrograde. And Jupiter's been in Aries since about mid-May or early May. And Jupiter's going to go backwards, and it's only at about 8 degrees, I think, because Jupiter moves so slowly. So it's actually going to go all the way back into Pisces, but not until we get till about late in the year, so December-ish, I think. And so what we're going to think about is what's happened between now and what has happened between May of this year and now, because Jupiter is going to retrace all of those steps for the rest of the year. And I wrote some notes down because here in New Mexico, I was worried back in May about the Hermit's Peak fire, and eventually it turned into the Calf Canyon / Hermit Peaks fire, which was like the biggest fire New Mexico's had in a long time. It made national news. It's still technically burning, but it's like 98% contained now. So I was worried that this Jupiter moving into Aries was going to make fires much more exacerbated or just expand fires all across the country. And yes, I know there's actually wildfires going on in near the West Coast. So, I wonder if that story will come up again. So please, if you are in New Mexico or any drought area, please do not, set off fireworks or have any open fires. We literally haven't barbecued at all this year or all this summer, just because it's been so dry. So if you're in New Mexico or any other drought place, pray for rain. Keep doing the rain dance and hope that this Jupiter retrograde is not going to retrace the steps of all the fires that happened. I actually wrote down the dates. The Hermit Peak fire started April 8th, and then the Calf Canyon was April 19th. So by the time Jupiter had gone into Aries, that's when it had gotten really big. And I think the news, the national news, had picked it up right around the time that Jupiter moved into Aries. So, I don't want to scare anybody. I just want to say that those issues and those themes may come up again, because when a planet goes into a retrograde, it's going to be reviewing something. It's a much more of an internalization energy. And so Jupiter going retrograde is going to be joining all these other planets. We already have Pluto retrograde, Saturn retrograde, Neptune is retrograde as well. And then last week, Chiron went retrograde. So these slow moving outer planets, Jupiter's going to join them. And honestly, out of all those planets, Jupiter is the, oh my God, she has a feather on her face. Jupiter's the fastest moving out of all of these planets. So, when the outer planets go retrograde, it's not it's not as, because they go retrograde for much longer periods of time, usually like almost up to a half a year, or, multiple months, versus just the 3-week period that Mercury goes retrograde. So it's not like, we go through our lives with these outer planets going retrograde quite often and being retrograde for a long period of time. So it is interesting when you have multiple outer planets all going retrograde, because the energy of that background culture shifting, changing, transiting energy is going to be not so forward moving, because we're looking back, we're retracing, we're reviewing. So all of those outer planets are kind of like changing our concepts of time and not being able to move forward. They're just looking back, just regurgitating everything up. So you may kind of feel that energy shift, that sort of time, understanding of time and how it works, and maybe not feeling like, forward motion is possible, or things that are happening are going to be contributing to things that have happened in the past. So that can happen as well. So yeah, Jupiter retrograde, all these other outer planets retrograde. Uranus is the only one, I think, that's not of the outer planets. So let's see. New moon on Thursday the 28th, which is also the same day Jupiter goes retrograde. So just keep in mind that those two may be slightly connected. The energies are going to be kind of shifting. It'll be, because they're both in fire signs. If you would like to know more about the new moon energy and how you can use it for your own 28-day cycle for intention setting and manifesting and all of that, I do a free new moon circle. I will be doing it this next week, maybe not exactly on the new moon, but I have not, even put the registration up for it. So I will try to get that up this week so you guys can join us. It's totally free, and you can learn about this upcoming lunation in Leo. So I will get that available as soon as possible. really, I mean, I don't have a ton of other things. I can give you the moons. As of tomorrow, the moon is going to be in Cancer for Monday the 25th. Then it's going to be in Cancer for the first 3 days of the week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then it shifts into Leo on Thursday for the new moon, which happens at 11:55 a.m. at 5 degrees Leo. So wherever 5 degrees Leo is in your chart, that's where this is going to happen. And then Friday the 29th, the moon goes void, of course, and then Saturday it moves into Virgo. So 3 moons this week, and a new moon, a new lunation. So that's going to be exciting. And well, if you want to know more, definitely you can join us. It's all online. And yeah, so I don't really have much else. Really, next week is going to be a big my next forecast next Sunday is going to be a big deal because there's going to be a giant thing that we're all building towards. If you're all feeling this, it's going to be the big hurrah with multiple things happening on Sunday the 31st and then moving into the first week of August. So I hope next week you will join me for that. And then, of course, come join us at the new moon. Yeah, I was going to say that there's so much happening, I mean, with Mercury this week that could be why I feel so drained and just overwhelmed with stuff because Mercury is my Time Lord this year. So yeah. And if you don't know what your Time Lord is or what a Time Lord is or who your Time Lord is, you can definitely book a reading with me through resonantessentials.com and I will help you find what that is for you because it changes every year. So thank you so much. I'm so glad you came. I'm sorry this is a little short, but I'm not feeling great. So I hope you all have a wonderful week and we'll see you next week. Bye.